Bethesda has to learn from Starfield, especially for their future games like Elder Scrolls 6 and beyond. Bethesda released Starfield to massive critical and commercial success, but there was so much criticism after the launch of the game. Bethesda's engine, Bethesda's game design, and the majority of what Bethesda does to make a game is outdated as hell, and they really need to change it and switch their tune for Elder Scrolls 6 because they cannot pull what they did with Starfield for Elder Scrolls 6. I know a lot of people will be like, well, other games have loading screens. Like, loading screens is the main issue of Starfield, and I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to have that same issue because Bethesda's Starfield is built in a universe, right? You're going from ship to space. Elder Scrolls 6 is probably just going to be on one big plane, and there's probably not going to be that many loading screens, but they really need to evolve with their game design as well. I don't understand how we can have games that have no loading screens in between buildings. You can go inside a building and leave, no loading screens. But with Bethesda's games, you need to go have a loading screen just to get into your ship, even though you can see inside your ship in the main game when you're outside. Realistically, it all stems back to Bethesda's creation engine being outdated as hell. I understand that they've had massive improvements. They took years to really improve the engine, but they still either need another 5 years minimum, honestly, to improve this engine before Elder Scrolls 6. They cannot have the same issues here. The graphics engine itself is gorgeous, honestly. I'll leave it at that. If Elder Scrolls 6 looks like Starfield or better, honestly, they've done their job with the graphics engine. But their game design as well. They need to change how they make games, because they make games like we're still back in 2012, like we're still back in 2013, and we're not in those ages anymore. We've evolved. The gaming industry has evolved to better heights. Like, we have evolved from loading screens every 10 minutes to go from building to building. We've evolved from the basic staring down at your person you're talking to, and I know a lot of people like how Bethesda worked the dialogue in it, whereas say Fallout 4 you had kind of like a third-person camera and it kept switching. I honestly prefer that to Starfield's. Even though Starfield's is back to basics, it's also back to 2008, 2009, 2013, back to old game design, where we're in 2024 now, and they really need to change their tune. I love Bethesda. Honestly, I love their games since I first played Fallout 4 back in 2015, but you have to, like, you can't just be blind to this. I understand Bethesda was a critical success, commercial success. A lot of people love the game, but the criticism towards the game, it's justified. We have to be honest. Now, some people will just say stupid shit, right? Some people will just say some really stupid shit, but the stuff like the loading screens, that is a very justified response. The things like the shooting, I can see as well. I love the gameplay personally. I love the gunplay, but I can see how people don't like it. I can see how people didn't like the powers, honestly, because it's really just a reimagining of the Dragonborn powers from Skyrim. Like, they realistically just restole it. I mean, like, it's what they've done, but they changed it a little bit to space, right? There's nothing really new here. It's just what we've always have, but with a space skin on it, and honestly, I know Bethesda can do better. And I'm not saying that because Starfield is basically just a normal Bethesda game with a space skin that it's bad. It's not bad. I love Starfield. I put in over 150 hours into the game. I'm almost 100% of the game. I just need to hit level 100. But I can see the criticism where it lies. There's a lot of issues. The exploration, I don't think that Bethesda will repeat this mistake, honestly, because they can't really repeat the mistake unless they make Elder Scrolls 6 a super massive game. Like, the map is just huge, as big as Starfield. They can't repeat this mistake because the normal RPG rules, I've heard this in videos, I've heard this in tweets. Usually in RPGs and action-adventure games, there is something to see, some point of interest, every 40 seconds to a minute. Bethesda's exploration lets that every 5 minutes. You'll land, there's your point of interest, your ship, and then you'll walk for 3 minutes to get somewhere. That is too long. That does not keep the player engaged, and that is also a big issue with Starfield. It doesn't keep player engagement high. And I know someone might argue, well, the average playtime was 40 hours. I get that. I'm someone who went way over the 40-hour playtime. I was engaged personally, but a lot of people won't be. And then this just leads back to Bethesda's game design with Starfield. From the repetitive gameplay, a lot of players found the gameplay to be repetitive. Just, you go here, do this, go somewhere else in your spaceship for 10 seconds, because there's no real space travel. I'm gonna be honest, there's no real space travel. You'll fast travel to a planet, and you might find, like, a space station. That's your space travel right there. There's no actual space exploration. It's just a fast travel middle point. Realistically, it's just a middleman, right? I mean, Outer Worlds is a very basic AA game, and I feel like it did it a bit better because you just went, it was just like a little symbol that took you from one planet to another, but there was no middleman, right? It's not like there was some fake space travel that you could have. Like, you can't go from one planet to another in Starfield and find a bunch of cool shit in space in between those planets. It's just fast travel. And then back to the excessive loading screens as well. There are loading screens just even in places where they've considered outdated, like entering an elevator. But Fallout 4 did this better. Fallout 4 used elevators as fake loading screens. You would enter an elevator, you'd press the button, it would say going up, and then it would act like an elevator. You'd be going up. Now, sometimes, obviously, the loading screen would break, so you'd be in there for minutes, so you'd have to restart the game. But like it was a simulation of an elevator, right? Now, it was a fake loading screen. It was hidden. It wasn't well hidden, but it was still more immersive than just like throwing you into a black screen and then throwing you into a new area. A lack of meaningful elements as well. No, don't get me wrong. There's so many cool just mechanics that you can have. There's crafting. There's spaceship crafting. There's the spacesuit upgrades. There's the weapon customization. There's the outpost customization. You can grow entire farms, honestly, which I thought was really cool. You can like just make so many outposts everywhere. Honestly, you can have so many different biomes and everything. There's so much cool stuff to have. But it's as wide as an ocean, but as deep as a puddle. There's so many different mechanics, but a lot of them aren't deep. Like, the deepest mechanic that I see in the game is the spaceship customization. Whoever did spaceship customization, honestly, they went off. Like, they put in their overtime. They did an amazing job. And I know some people might be expecting this conversation, but NPCs, I'm not going to be talking about the eyeballs and the faces. Look, that's just Bethesda's fuck up. The weird faces that look at you, I don't know how they didn't catch that when beta testing and when QA testing the game. But just NPCs in general, like, especially enemies, they're fucking stupid. Like, they tout this amazing AI improvement, but they didn't do anything. Like, I'd argue Fallout 4's AI can be better. I don't know what they did. Like, what did they do? Like, no, realistically, what did they improve for Bethesda's AI? Like, nothing. I don't know what they did, but they didn't do anything. And then other than the big cities and other towns, the locations in the game are just so boring. Like, I don't, like, when you're just exploring, which realistically there isn't any meaningful exploration because it's all just random generated areas that they throw into maps. Like, there's no proper exploration. There isn't some cool NPC that you can find at one area that everyone can find in that one planet. I mean, it's just very basic. And their procedural generation, honestly, the thing that could have fixed this game is if they went 20, 30 well-detailed planets instead of 1,000. Like, I understand they wanted to be big, and they were thinking, let's make it big, because this will be a modder's paradise, especially once we fully release our mods to them. It's a modder's paradise. But for the game itself, they should have done 20 to 30 planets, because that would have been better for the game's health overall. That's all I'm going to be talking about this topic. Bethesda truly does need to learn from Starfield. They cannot have the same mistakes they made here from the game design, from the exploration. I don't think that they'll make those same mistakes, especially with exploration, but I feel like they will make those same mistakes unless they really get their act together with their game design, with their mission design, with their dialogue systems. Like, oh my god, I completely forgot about this. Their persuasion system in this game is dog shit. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to have these random little generated answers, but they fucked it. I don't know how they made it worse than just pressing Y for convince. Like, I don't know how they made it worse, but they somehow did. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe if you so choose to. Let me know in the comments what you think of Bethesda's game design. Do you think they should learn? Do you think they're fine? Or just let me know in the comments what you guys think. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.